Most people don't remember the day their financial future quietly started collapsing. There was no dramatic moment, no crash, no warning siren. It usually began with something harmless. A credit card bill arrived. The balance looked uncomfortable, but not terrifying. At the bottom of the statement, a small line offered relief. Minimum payment due. It felt like a lifeline, a mercy option, a way to breathe. Pay this small amount today, worry about the rest later. And that single decision, repeated month after month, became one of the most expensive choices they would ever make. Because minimum payments don't just delay debt, they quietly rewrite your future. At first, minimum payments feel responsible. You're not ignoring the bill, you're paying on time. Your credit score doesn't collapse. The bank thanks you. But what almost no one explains is that minimum payments are not designed to help you escape debt. They are designed to keep you inside it. Banks don't make money when you pay quickly. They make money when you stay. So the system is engineered around one psychological truth. People fear large payments, but they tolerate small ones. A $2,000 balance feels scary. A $40 minimum payment feels manageable. And that gap is where the trap lives. Let's say someone puts $5,000 on a credit card. Emergency, medical bill, job gap. It happens. The card charges around 20% interest, sometimes more. The minimum payment is roughly 2% of the balance. So every month they send in $100. They feel responsible, they feel like adults. But here's what actually happens behind the scenes. Most of that $100 doesn't reduce the debt. It feeds the interest first. Interest is charged daily, quietly, relentlessly. So by the time the payment arrives, a large portion of it has already been claimed. The balance barely moves. Month 1 feels fine. Month 2 feels normal. By month 6, frustration starts creeping in. I've been paying for half a year. Why does the balance still look the same? This is where people make their second mistake. They stop looking. As long as the minimum is paid, they mentally file the problem away. Life continues. Bills stack up. Another emergency happens. The card gets used again. Now the balance grows, but the minimum payment grows too, just slowly enough to feel tolerable. This is not accidental. Credit card companies spend billions studying human behavior. They know exactly how much pain people will tolerate before they revolt. Minimum payments are calibrated to stay below that pain threshold. Enough to feel annoying, not enough to force action. And that's how years disappear. 5 years later, many people have paid thousands of dollars and still owe almost everything they started with. At that point, something darker happens. Their debt stops feeling temporary. It becomes part of identity. This is just my credit card. This is normal. Everyone has debt. That normalization is deadly. Because while the balance sits quietly, it is doing something much worse than charging interest. It is stealing opportunity. Every minimum payment is money that cannot be used elsewhere. It cannot be invested. It cannot build an emergency fund. It cannot create safety. Instead, it flows upward from households to financial institutions, month after month, year after year. And the cost isn't just financial, it's psychological. People living under revolving debt make different decisions. They stay in jobs they hate because missing a paycheck feels dangerous. They avoid risks that could improve their lives. They delay starting businesses. They delay moving. They delay leaving bad relationships. Debt quietly becomes a leash. But minimum payments do something even more dangerous. They distort time. When people see a loan with a fixed end date, their brain understands it. 3 years, 5 years, there is an end. Minimum payments have no end. If someone only pays the minimum, a balance can last decades. Some balances never die. People carry the same debt from their 20s into their 40s, from their 40s into retirement. And because interest compounds, the total amount paid can be 2 or 3 times the original purchase. What almost no one understands about minimum payments is that they don't just delay your progress, they actively reverse it. Because while you think you're just treading water, the financial system is quietly pulling you backward. Interest doesn't wait for your good intentions. It doesn't care about your effort or how hard you worked this month. It only cares about 2 things: time and balance. And time is always on its side. Every single month, interest is calculated before your payment is even applied. That detail matters more than most people realize, because by the time your money arrives, the damage has already been done. Your payment isn't fixing a problem, it's reacting to one that already happened. You're not paying down your debt, you're paying rent on borrowed money. And that's the real function of minimum payments. They convert your debt into a subscription, a permanent monthly charge that never seems to end. Once you see it this way, the picture becomes deeply disturbing, because subscriptions are designed to be just painless enough that you don't cancel them. Think about streaming services, apps, or memberships. They use small amounts and automatic withdrawals, keeping them out of sight and out of mind. Minimum payments use the exact same psychology. They're low enough that you don't panic. They're predictable enough that you adapt your budget around them. And they're quiet enough that you eventually stop questioning them. Except this subscription doesn't give you entertainment. It doesn't add any value to your life. It slowly drains your future. Now, here's where the math becomes brutal. Let's say you owe $10,000 on a credit card with a 22% interest rate. If you only ever pay the minimum, you could end up sending the bank over $20,000 before that balance finally disappears, if it ever does. That means you paid for the same money twice. Once when you spent it, and again in interest. But the real cost isn't just the extra $10,000. The real cost is time. It's what that $10,000 could have become if it had been allowed to grow for you instead of bleeding away. If that same money had been invested consistently over the years, it could have turned into tens of thousands. That money could have bought freedom, options, security. Instead it vanished into interest payments. This is how minimum payments quietly sabotage your ability to build wealth. They don't just keep you poor, they prevent you from ever catching up. People often believe that building wealth is about earning more, getting a better job, or working longer hours. But in reality, wealth is about where your money goes after you earn it. And minimum payments redirect your money away from ownership and toward obligation. Every single dollar you send to interest is a dollar that cannot compound for you. It compounds for someone else. Banks understand the power of compounding better than anyone. That's why they use it against you. They don't need to rush you. They don't need to threaten you or scare you. They just let time do the heavy lifting for them. And time is ruthless. Over years, relying on minimum payments changes your behavior in subtle ways. You stop thinking in totals and start thinking in terms of monthly survival. You ask yourself, can I make this payment, or can I just get through this month? Long-term thinking completely disappears. This is dangerous, because long-term thinking is where freedom lives. When you're trapped in the cycle of minimum payments, your future decisions shrink. Your tolerance for risk shrinks, your ambition shrinks. You become reactive instead of proactive. You stop asking, what do I want my life to look like in 10 years? And instead you ask, can I get through the next 30 days? That mindset shift is devastating because wealth is built by people who can think beyond the present moment. Debt keeps you chained to it, and minimum payments make that chain feel just light enough that you don't notice it tightening around you every single month. Another hidden damage appears in your credit score. Ironically, making minimum payments can actually improve your score in the short term. You're paying on time, so you look responsible on the surface. But underneath, your credit utilization stays high. Your dependence on credit grows, and lenders see that. They don't see discipline. They see predictability. They see someone who borrows and never fully escapes, someone who will always need credit. That makes you valuable to them but not powerful. This is why you get more credit card offers when you're already in debt. The system rewards dependency with more cards, higher limits, and more flexibility, but flexibility without control just becomes a deeper trap. People often assume the real danger point is missing a payment. But the real danger is never missing them, because as long as you pay the minimum, the machine keeps running smoothly. The system doesn't collapse, it thrives, and you slowly disappear inside of it. Years pass. You get pay raises, but they vanish into higher balances. Your expenses rise to match your new income, but the debt stays. People wonder why life feels harder even though they're earning more money. This is why. Minimum payments quietly absorb any progress you make. Every financial step forward is neutralized by interest, and eventually, people reach a breaking point. They look at their statements and feel something close to despair. They think, I've been paying for years. Why am I still here? At this stage, many people blame themselves. They think they're just bad with money. But that belief is incredibly harmful because it hides the truth. The system is designed this way. Minimum payments are not a safety feature. They are a profit engine. A perfectly tuned mechanism designed to extract the maximum amount of interest while minimizing your resistance. And once you truly understand that, something important changes. You stop feeling ashamed, and you start feeling angry. Not reckless anger, but focused anger. The kind of anger that leads to action, because escaping minimum payments is not about budgeting harder. It's about breaking the rules of the trap. The moment you stop paying the minimums and start attacking the principal balance aggressively, the system loses its grip on you. Interest loses its most powerful ally, time. Compounding finally starts to work in your favor. Progress becomes visible. You see the balance drop faster than you ever thought possible. Hope returns, and with hope comes powerful momentum. But the hardest step is always the first one, because minimum payments train you to believe that slow, painful progress is the best you can do. That belief is false. It was planted there by the system itself. Once people experience what it feels like to actually reduce their debt meaningfully, not just service it, their entire relationship with money changes forever. They stop seeing credit cards as convenient tools. They see them for what they are, contracts. Contracts that overwhelmingly favor the issuer, not the user, and that awareness starts to spread. People begin questioning other financial norms, massive car loans, buy now, pay later schemes, lifestyle inflation. They realize how many systems are built on the same principle, small monthly payments that are designed to last forever. Minimum payments are simply the clearest, most obvious example. They reveal the core truth of modern consumer finance. You are not punished for being poor, you are monetized for staying dependent. And dependency is incredibly profitable for them. This is why escaping the minimum payment trap feels so powerful. It's not just about the money. It's about reclaiming your time. A time that was being quietly sold off without your consent. Time that can now be used to build, to invest, to create, and to grow. The future that minimum payments were erasing from your life starts to reappear. And once you see that future clearly, you will never look at a credit card statement the same way again, because now you understand the truth. Minimum payments don't protect you from debt, they protect debt from you. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content on how to take back control of your financial life.